Good evening.
Again. Okay, you guys, we're gonna get started. But okay, so I'm pretty excited about this call because I am in a Josh Coates push group, and holy crap! I mean, I know that most of you guys have heard like a webinar from him before, and he's really really awesome.
So give a quick introduction
To what?
Josh. So Josh, we post some stuff in here, but so Josh Coates, he's a member of the John Maxwell leadership team.
He mentors a ton of Beachbody coaches.
Yep. So he and has an excellent success rate and track record. Not that he's the thing making people successful. I think he's just helping guide them. But I mean, they ultimately have to do the work. But he's helped people go, reach financial goals,
Top 10,
rank goals, elite, all of that type of stuff. So we had the opportunity to do this. I think it's worth mentioning. This is not something that like we got asked to join. We paid for this, and it was expensive. It is very expensive, but we chose to do that for a reason because it's an investment, and the return on that investment is it's growing the business. Which is what we want. So, just thought that was worth mentioning.
So yeah, we're going for it. And one of the things, we have a weekly call. And so last week was our first one. And one of the things that he talked about was just urgency. And I thought it was really cool since like this group is following, the last couple of months of the year. I know a lot of people are doing Rachel Hollis's last 90-day challenge, and just like it's just all about like making the last quarter of the year just as good as the first one, because this typically tends to be the time where people are kind of like, I'll just take a break from life until the new year. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen it. I mean, heck, I've done it in this business. You kind of get through the holidays and it's like, like January's coming, and you just kind of like
start fresh.
Yeah, so
coast a little bit.
But it kind of sucks. It's easy to do, but it kind of sucks because then like come January, like you're starting over. Like all of that momentum that you've had throughout the whole year, we let die in the last like 2 or 3 months of the year, and then we have to start all over. So I was really excited just the timing of this, because I worked too hard to lose my momentum. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just stupid. So, but like, one of the things that he was saying was just like, it's not a matter of this doesn't work for me. It's a matter of, are you willing to work for it? And I know that I've had coaches sign up and then quit like 2 seconds later because 30 days in, they're like, nobody bought anything, like nobody's doing anything. And I'm like, you're going to give a new business 30 days to work and then quit? Like, you know what I'm saying? So I think, we obviously have our vital behaviors. We all know the vital behaviors and why they are so important, because we have to like know our products. We have to know that they work, right? So another thing he was saying was like, you have to ask people to join you. I feel like so many times we get like stuck in this place of like, well, nobody's oh, there we go. Of like, nobody's doing anything, but we're not like asking. We expect people to just like come to us. And I will say like, the longer you do this, the more that definitely happens. But like, you can't expect it. Like, I would have never joined Beachbody if Caitlin wouldn't have asked me to. You know what I'm saying? And so I think a lot of people get stuck in this place of,
that's a great point.
They're scared.
Thanks, Caitlin.
Thank you, Caitlin. They're like scared to ask because, there's like the whole belief thing. There's the fear of rejection belief, all of that stuff.
Well, they think like, oh, that's so great for them. Like look at them, like hitting their goals and like growing a business. That's so good for them. And I think they think in the back of their head, like, maybe I could do something like that. And like, or they may even be right on the edge, but like you actually like empowering them, saying like, hey, have you ever thought about doing this? Like, you would be awesome at this. Like, not only does it like, it gives them that sense of belief, but it may be like, you don't know how close they could be to either like joining you. Like for example, like when Caitlin asked Jordan was like, oh, absolutely. Like I can make money, like doing what I love. Like, so she didn't need much convincing. And you have no idea. You have no idea who you're talking to could be the next Caitlin and Jordan situation. Like literally, you don't know. Like it was effortless. Yeah, but it was effortless. And some people need a little bit more work and more empowering and more encouragement. But you just don't know.
Yeah. And like one of the things that he was saying was like, if you believe in it, you can sell it. You know what I'm saying? Like you just have to talk to people. Like it's not enough to just like post on social media. Like, you know what I mean? Like you have to ask them to join you, because people aren't just going to like throw themselves at you. And something that he really challenged me with, he was like, let your monthly goal be your weekly goal. And which is like pretty intense, you know what I'm saying? Because let your monthly goal be your weekly goal. Because he was talking about Success Club, and he's like, most people just want to get to Success Club 5 at the end of the month. He's like, that's the company minimum. He's like, if that's all you're working for, like, you're not really going to like make money. And I was like, that's a really good point. And obviously it's not all about Success Club. Like we can sell lots of other things, but I mean, obviously like we all want to sell the challenge packs because it's the best for us and it's the best for them. You know what I mean? So it's definitely the most value.
He had said on the call, like, what other job could you get by at doing the company minimum and that would be acceptable? Or like what business would thrive or succeed where only the absolute minimum was maintained?
Yeah.
It was crazy. Like I never thought about that.
Yeah, it really
this is a business.
Yeah, but so like challenge yourself with that, you guys, because I heard this other call, and she's someone who was mentored by Josh Coates, and she was at one of his conferences, and you know, he was like, who here is content with the money that they're making? And she was like making like $1,000 a month or something. And she's like, oh, I'm content. Like, I'm like happy where I'm at. He's like, if I offered you $1 million, would you take it? And she was like, well, heck yeah, I would take it. He's like, then you're not really content, because if you were content, you wouldn't take $1 million because you're fine where you're at. And she's like, holy crap. So like, it really like pushed her, because then she had that in her head. She's like, I can do more. Like, I want to do better. So I think sometimes we settle for just like the minimum amount of work. And we're like, that's good enough. But like, I know for me, that's not good enough for the goal that I want to hit. That is not going to bring us home ever.
Yep.
Ever. You know what I'm saying? So I think like you have to have that urgency goal. Like, what are you working for? It's like your why. Like, what are you working for? Why are you here? And like, there's no choice but like to move forward when you put that urgency on yourself, which I think, you know, with the end of the year coming up, like give yourself an urgency goal. And like, here's the thing, goals are not meant to be reached, which is also something that is challenging me, because sometimes you make a goal, but like you take it easy on yourself because you actually want to hit it. But like, it's supposed to stretch you and make you like work, like really work towards it. Like when he said, make your monthly goal your weekly goal, he's like, now you guys, like that's not going to happen next week. Like when I did that, it took me 3 months to get there. So it's something that you work towards, but it's still like that focus in your mind. It's not like, oh, well, okay, I'll just do that next week. Like obviously that's not going to happen. You have to work up to it. But urgency creates focus, and you know, stop wasting time. Focus on what matters. Cause like when you do have that urgency goal, you're gonna set your business hours, right? And when I say hours, I don't mean like, you know, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Like that's not what I'm talking about. Like I'm talking about like those pockets of time where like, you know, that you can work the business. Like for me, I get up, I work out, and I work until my kids wake up. So that that time varies, no big deal, but it's still that pocket of time where like I know it is go time.
Yep. And you've been, even in the last like 2 weeks since you've been just in his group, like you have really changed. Like, I mean, you're even just like watching and observing you, like you have really shifted. Just, I guess you really turned up the heat, and you've, I guess that would be a good way to describe it. Like you have approached your business with more of a sense of urgency, and it's not, that doesn't equal like more time.
Mm-hmm.
It's just maybe moved up the priority ring.
That's the thing. And that's one of the things that Josh said, like from the beginning. He's like, this is not about like working more, like spending all day, like working to like hit these goals. He's like, when I'm done with you, I want you to be working less. And it really comes down to focusing, to work when you're working, set aside your pockets of time, and like only work when you're working. You know what I mean? Because you hear a lot of people whose husbands aren't supportive because their wives are on their phone all the time. And like, that's not fair to anyone. I know I don't want to be on my phone all the time. That like gives me a headache. Like I don't want to do that crap. You know what I'm saying? So like, just like be disciplined about it and work when you're working. And if it doesn't make your life better, like it's not really worth it. You know what I mean? Like if you are working on your phone all day long, is that making your life better? No, it's not. And it's not because this business takes all that time to be successful. It's because you're not being disciplined in setting aside those times for your business. And then another thing is urgency breeds creativity. And this is a really good one. This is one that I really need to work on. Because like today I had said like, with the Lift 4 challenge group we just had, and with, the sneak peek that we had, I sent out a ton of invites. I have a ton of challengers, a ton of people interested in coaching. And then yesterday I sat down to invite and I was like, I have nothing. I was like, I have nobody to invite. Like I got all the people who like were interested and I was talking with, and I was like, I just feel like I freaking ran out of people. And it really comes down to that urgency breeds creativity. Because instead of just saying like, oh, well, I'm done now, like how can you hit your goal numbers? You know what I mean? So if my like weekly minimum now is like SC5, like don't just say like, well, I can't hit that now. Like how am I going to hit it? It's like saying like, don't say you can't afford something. Say, how can I afford that? Don't say like, well, I can't afford to go to Summit. You need to say like, how can I get there? Like, what can I do? What can I sell? Like, you know what I'm saying?
What it take?
Yeah, like what's it gonna take to get there? So
it's an analogy in Rich Dad Poor Dad is a book, and they gave that analogy. Like it's written by a guy, and he like described like two families, and one family was very wealthy, one family was very poor. The poor family wasn't allowed to talk about money at all. Like when they would have family dinners, they would not talk about money at all because they had such a poverty mindset. But in the wealthy family, they understood money and they encouraged it. But their discussions weren't ever like, man, like I can't afford this. Like the wealthy father said, okay, like, what is it that you want? And then kind of just change their language. How can we afford this? Like basically what do we need to do to get it done? Because then like conversation like that, language like that, mentalities like that, stuff like that enables belief. Because like what you believe is what you're going to achieve. So if you believe that you can't do it, if you believe that you have nothing to invite to, or you believe that, you're going to have to wait and just till the next release or the next big thing, that's going to affect your actions or your lack of actions. Mm-hmm. But if you believe if you believe in the product and you believe in the business and you believe in what you're doing and you have a goal and a focus and all of those things, then like she's saying, like you have no choice but to create something. You can either stand by and do nothing, or you can make something, that allows you to push the business forward.
You have to be solution oriented. And that's something that we've been talking a lot about, like, what can we create?
Yeah,
like
we literally
freemiums.
just had that conversation.
Yeah, like freemiums and videos and just stuff that we can like invite people like in on and give people. And so that like he has a tracker that we have to fill out every week. And like, on Saturdays there's a create content box, which is good because it makes you do it. Because here's the thing, if you do not do 70% of the activity on the tracker, you get called out and you have 48 hours to catch up or you get kicked out of the group for the rest of the month.
Called out in a post. So again,
in front of everyone.
So you paid a lot of money.
My personality is like, oh heck no, I am not going to be called out. Yeah. Like we gotta create something.
He said before he had this, the people in his group would have about a 10% success rate. In like
it was like a 20% success
or
rate.
20% success rate, as in like filling out the tracker. Like it's basically like a bat form, and
because people always start a group super motivated, but then towards the end, people just
So he switched to this. So again, this is a group that you pay hundreds of dollars to be in. If you don't fill it out, you get called out in a post. They tag you in the post, and you have 48 hours to catch up, or they kick you out of the group.
Yeah.
And he said after doing that, he has
90% success rate.
90%.
It really works.
Yeah. And as soon as I heard that, I'm like, oh, this is going to be great for her personality. Like, oh,
I'm not getting called out. No way. Like, what do I have to do?
Yeah.
Like, no. So, yeah. So just, and I think that's also where self-evaluation is super important. Like, is there something that I'm doing that I'm not effective at, and how can I improve? So, like if you're just like doing the same stuff and it's not really going anywhere, like switch it up. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're not sure what to do, heck, like ask in Team Courage, like, what do you guys do when this happens? Or like look on YouTube. Like every single Beachbody coach has zillions of YouTube videos on everything. So surely if you have that urgency, you can go look for something to create. You can get an idea. You don't just sit back and wait for someone else to do it and be like, oh, that's a good idea. I'm going to use that. Like, come on.
Yeah. We do have the internet at our disposal.
Exactly. This thing called the internet. So like make your goal urgent enough where like you have to learn something new. Like where you've been at for the last however long you've been doing this is just not good enough. And then also, urgency demands ownership. So when you have an urgent goal, like you don't have time to whine and complain. Like, oh, my challengers don't do this. My coaches don't do this. Nobody wants to buy from me. Nobody does this. Everyone's selling something else. Like there's like a million things, but like, where's that going to get you? I know all that stuff is frustrating, but like if your coaches aren't doing anything, you need to recruit more people. You know what I mean? Like you need to start breadcrumbing and attracting more people. And something that I kind of called myself out on, and it was also good timing because it was right before this group started, was I realized that like I've really been sucking about talking about the coach opportunity, you guys. Like I talk a lot about the workouts because I talk a lot about fitness and food because I really love to work out and I really love healthy food. So that's what I tend to talk a lot about. So I'm attracting people who either want healthy recipes or who just want the workouts. And that's it. So like what you're putting out is what you're going to attract, right? And I love those people. I'm sure you can turn them into coaches and stuff, but I was just looking at like some other like, top coaches, and I was like, dang, like they talk about the coach opportunity all the time. They're always breadcrumbing about it. And I was like, dang, like I have not been doing that. Like not even like I've been bad about it, but I just like haven't been doing it. So I kind of been like, I've got to get better at this. And then that's one of the things on the tracker. You have to post about the opportunity. You have to breadcrumb. So it came at a really good time. But I mean, what the vibe that you're giving out is what you're going to get, So if you're talking about the coach opportunity, you're going to start to attract people who are interested in it. And like once I started breadcrumbing, it only took like 1 or 2 posts. I had a lot of people interested. And then when I posted about the sneak peek, I had like 9 people in there. You know what I'm saying? So like you have to talk about it. You have to share about it. So like when there's that urgency, like you only have time to move forward. Like there's no, I don't want to stand still. You know what I mean? Like I always want to go forward. I definitely don't want to move back. That's for sure. I don't have time for that. That doesn't line up with my goals. So just remember that like, goals aren't meant to be reached. They are meant to stretch you. So think about that and like come up with a goal that's really going to stretch you. Like Josh Coates' thing is like, let's puke together, because like you should have those goals that are like, oh my God, like what did I just agree to? You know what I mean? Like something that's really going to push you and drive you. And like, don't set goals based on what you have. Set them on what you want. Okay. And I think that's a really good one, because we set really safe goals for ourselves because we don't like to not hit our goals, right? So we set these really safe goals and we kind of like look around us and it's like, oh, like, well, this is an order, so I'll make this goal because I think I can hit it this month. I have like 5 people interested, so I'm going to make a goal of SC10 because like I really think I can hit it this month. So what happens the next month when you don't really have anyone who's like, who you know is super interested, and you're like, well, I'll be good with 2 this month. You know what I mean? Like, that's not stretching you. Like, come on. So, never decrease your target. Always increase your action, which is also like really good. Like, I was like, oh, dang. Yeah, I know. Seriously. That's like a total like mic drop comment. I've totally been guilty of that, you guys. Like, depending on what's going on around me, like maybe one month I have really high goals because there's a lot going on. There's a lot of action going on. But then the next month, you lower your goal. Instead of me just pushing myself and doing more and being creative, letting the urgency create, focus and content and stuff, you just lower your goal so that your action can stay the same. And if you're okay with that, then fine. But if you want to grow in this, then that's not going to cut it. You know what I'm saying? So, and then the call that we had today was also just like, it was really good. And it kind of like goes with that. But I just had a couple of points that I wanted to share about that. So like one of the things that he said was like consistency plus intensity plus worth plus time will get you whatever you want in life. And, we can definitely have that. We hear Summer talk about it, the microwave mindset. We're like, we want it now, and we're not willing to put our roast in the crock pot and wait a few hours. Like, we want to eat it now. Like, so like, some people might do the right work, but not consistently. Like, do you really expect anyone to like come to you after you've been consistent for a week on social media? No. I've had people who have followed me for years before they reached out or before they finally said yes. Actually, today, I have someone who follows me on Instagram who I have been talking to for a year and a half. I've invited her like a dozen times to stuff. She's told me so many times, yes, I want to do it. And she just never has. She's had a lot going on, whatever. And then today she messaged me. She's like, okay, I'm ready to do Beachbody. I need to lose weight. You know what I mean? It took a year and a half of loving on her and inviting her and still being here when she ghosts me. You know what I mean? It took a year and a half of consistency on my part before she had that trust and the belief to be like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. So are you willing to wait for someone for a year and a half? You know what I mean? Like, is that person really worth it? And if your answer is no, then you're making it all about you and you don't care about them anyway. And like, think about it like no one is going to trust you with their money and their struggles if you're not being consistent. You know what I'm saying? Because this could be, for someone, this could be like, maybe they've struggled with food for like literally their whole lives, like with the mental battle of, starving themselves and restricting calories and just self-hatred. And if you're not consistent, do you expect anyone to trust you with that struggle and to hand over $160 and the thing they've struggled with their whole lives and be like, okay, help me? I wouldn't.
They're trusting in you to be a turning point.
Exactly, because of the vibe that you're giving off, because of the things that you're sharing. So keep that in mind too. Like, you have to be consistent. You have to be consistent. And then intensity, right? Because here's the thing, like maybe you're doing the right stuff, but you're just not doing it intense enough. And like belief creates that intensity, and like you can see it in someone's eyes. Like when that light bulb goes off and they're like, oh, I am doing this. You know what I'm saying? Like I saw it in Kayla at Summit. It like Yeah, girl.
But she's like, I don't even care about the food I ordered. I just want to go to the session.
I know. Freaking restaurant.
Just bring it to me. I'm gonna just go.
Exactly. It was like that switch. And like she was like coaching before that. She was doing the right stuff before that. But then it was like she turned up the heat. She turned up the intensity, and you could see it in her face. You could see it in the way that she came back and signed like 6,000 coaches.
Yeah, we're like holding her back from the stage.
No, she's like, I'm gonna walk that stage. You know what I'm saying? And that made a difference. Like she grew her team. Like I don't think she had a team before that. She came back from Summit. She got herself a freaking team. You know what I'm saying? So maybe you need to turn up the heat a little bit. You know what I mean? Because just kind of, and again, it's like that urgency thing. If you're just kind of like coasting and you're not growing fast enough, like turn up the heat. Go after it. Oh, Kaylin, I am too. Oh my gosh. Kayla and I were just talking about that. I was like, we're both going to have babies. We can do the baby and me workout together. I was like sad. I was like, oh, you can't bring babies in with like Shaun T. Like everyone's going to work out with him but me. But I'm like, yay, I'll have somebody.
Well, you guys do that. I'll take everyone else to Chris.
Okay.
I think so. Like, what was it? So belief creates intensity. So I think also really like something that goes along with that. In order to set yourself up, for belief, you have to really guard what you allow, where you allow your mind to go to, and also like what you fill it with. I think personal development comes into really affects this too, because really, if it all comes back to belief, the things that you allow to get into your brain and control your thoughts are going to be what affects your belief. So if you're listening to things that are empowering, like hopefully like the goal of any team call is to get off and you're like, man, I'm freaking fired up. I'm pumped. Like, let's do this. Let's go. That's the goal. That's what you want. So identify what you need to keep your brain space in that area where it's intense and it's creative and whatever it takes. If that's listening to team calls, I remember there was a place like when I first like got on board with her with this, no joke, I would go to I would go to YouTube and I would just like look at like Scotty Hobbs team calls or Michael Folsom team calls, or I would just watch other team calls. And because it was fueling my mind, it was fueling my belief, and it was keeping my brain in the area it needed to be to cultivate these type of beliefs. And I didn't have that at first, but I know I wanted it, so I just kept filling my brain with that. And it could be personal development, it could be Rachel Hollis, it could be a team call, it could be whatever it takes. But like identify what you need. Like when you hear something or see something or read something or listen to something that like makes your soul feel like it's on fire and you just want to go after something. If it's this business, figure out what it will take to do that and do that thing. And just other things are kind of like a slow drag. Like there's not like obvious like anti-Beachbody brain things, but there are things that are kind of a slow drag on your mind and slowly kind of pull you away from that. And the majority of, what it is? This, just scrolling. I'm talking to myself right now too. It's just scrolling. It's just distractions. I think that's the biggest thing. It's
unbelievable the amount of time you can waste.
Yeah, but so I would say distractions are probably the biggest killer of belief, which is the biggest killer of intensity.
Yeah, because here's the thing, like if you before I started following a tracker, before I set aside business hours, like I wasn't really following anything, so I'd sit down to work, but I was like, I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't know who to talk to. Like I don't know, you know what I'm saying? And you just like start like scrolling and you get distracted and you're like, I've been sitting here for 2 hours and I have done nothing. You know what I'm saying? So then that you're like, I'm not good at this. Like that affects how you feel about being a coach, right? Because you're like, I suck. You know what I mean? Because of that distraction, because of that time suck, and because you can be unproductive when you let yourself go there. I don't have time to be unproductive. I don't know about you guys, but yeah, And then another thing was worth, and that was something that came up a lot today. And, you know, a lot of people struggle with feeling like their story is worth sharing. And, you know, someone was, you know, sharing today on the call, like, just how Beachbody helped her with depression. It made her a better mom and like all of this like different stuff. And Josh was like, so how could you think that's not valuable to share? Like if you were in a dark place, if you were depressed, if you didn't feel like a good mom and Beachbody pulled you out of that rut, like think of all of the people who feel that way. I know it's a lot of people. Like so many people struggle with depression. So many moms feel like they're not enough. You know what I'm saying? And we hear so many stories just from our team of people who started there and now they're like on the other end of that. So like, just realize that your story is worth sharing. Like you are worthy of that success and turn your fears into positive affirmations. If the thing that's holding you back is, I don't feel worthy to share, then your affirmation is, I am worthy to share this. I am a worthy coach. I am worthy to help people. You know what I mean? Yeah, write that down and say that crap every day till you believe it. Sometimes you don't believe your positive affirmations, but you say it every day until you believe it. You know what I'm saying? Like right now, one of my affirmations is, I am a 6-figure earner. I am not a 6-figure earner right now, but dang it, I'm going to be. You know what I mean? And I have to, sometimes it's like, can I like really do that? Is that like really possible for me? But like, I'm going to say it till I like freaking believe it, till it's just a part of me. Like Summer shares, like when she started, she wanted a 6-figure income. So she would just put 6s all over her house where she could see to remind her of what she wants, of that goal. So like, you know, if you don't feel worthy enough to plant the seeds for other people, like you're never going to get those plants to harvest. You know what I'm saying? Like if you don't feel worthy to plant an orange seed, you're never going to get an orange tree. You know, like that's just how it works. And farm analogies are really good when we're talking about this kind of thing.
And tree analogies.
Trees, farms.
Lumberjacks.
Like, I know. Yep. So, you know, just realize that results take time, but that doesn't affect your worth. Like the girl today that I've been talking to for 1.5 years, like that didn't affect my worth, that she ghosted me for 1.5 years, that she didn't, you know, finally commit to me. I wasn't saying like, oh man, like I'm not a good enough coach. Like I can't do it. I can't help her. I was just there. I was consistent. I was like, look, if she really wants to do this, she's going to come back. But I had to be consistent and I had to give it time, because people don't just throw money at you and say like, yeah, I'll do whatever you tell me to. They get to a point where they might say that. They're like, what do I have to do? Like, tell me what to do. But like initially, like, no, they're not going to do that. I wouldn't do that. So why would I expect someone else to do that, you know? So yeah, you can't change your belief system if you're not willing to fight for it. So again, we hear it all the time. What would you run into a burning building for? You know what I'm saying? And, you know, one of the things that Josh shared today was like, if my house was on fire and my kids were in there and somebody rolled up in their car and was like, hey, stupid, you can't run through a wall. Like, what are you going to do? You can't save them. He's like, I wouldn't give a crap what they would say. My kids are in there. I'm going to break down the whole house to go get them, to save them. And I was like, dang, that's really good, because how many times do you let people like talk to you like that? Like, you know, like this business doesn't work. You can't really do it. Like, why are you wasting your time? People are going to hurt you. Like all this different stuff. But it's like, you know, and he was saying like, my business is my family. You know what I'm saying? Because if I lose my business and all of that money goes away, my kids are the ones who suffer. My family is the one who suffers. So my business is my family. Like it's not something separate. It's all connected. So like, you know, if your kids are in a burning building and someone says, you can't save them, you're like, screw you, I'm going to do it. Like, I'm going to go do it. So anyways, those are just some things that are like really challenging me right now and really like stretching me. And yeah, but I wanted to share them with you guys. That's pretty much all that I have. It's been about 40 minutes. So does anyone have any like questions or anything? Whatever. If not, that's all I got.
We'll give it a minute.
Do you have anything you want to close out with, babe?
No, just I guess we're both being really stretched and challenged right now. We have some very large goals in our future.
Mm-hmm.
Some things that we haven't even shared about yet, and we will at some point. But a lot of stuff is going to be happening for us in the next year, and just some things we're deciding to do and go for, and we're very excited about. But it's not going to be comfortable. It's going to be, and it's all self-imposed. These are just life, life decisions and things that we just want to do and we want to go after. And
it's those let's puke together goals, though.
Yeah, it's exactly. And we're excited about a lot of stuff, but it's crazy. But I guess just know that we appreciate every single one of you guys. I mean, just the fact that we're all able to partner and do this and run this awesome business together. It's awesome. This is the coolest thing in the world to get to do, and I can't wait until I can do it full time with her. But
yeah,
but we appreciate you guys, and we really just know that we really we pray for like the team like regularly, like every single one of you guys, and we believe in you guys so much, and for those of the squad going to Super Sunday in a week and a half.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, man, I'm so excited. Does anyone know, Jen, do you know who the trainer is? If anyone would
I actually don't know if there's going to be like a specific trainer. I think we might just be like watching and like going along with something, because I know there's 3 speakers, but not an actual trainer.
Okay.
On the lineup. But tomorrow, the guy who like basically, I forget his name, but he's basically like runs that Philly Fusion team or whatever. He's going to have Doug on tomorrow, and they're supposed to be talking more and like kind of giving like a sneak peek of the agenda and what's going on. So after that, it'll probably be clear exactly how that's going to work.
All right.
Well, as long as you're not doing Country Heat.
Oh, God.
Kiss. Oh, my gosh. You have Chris coming to Super Sunday?
That's so cool.
That's cool.
Oh, my gosh. He's my favorite. But, all right, you guys. Well, we love you guys. Thanks for hopping on, and have an awesome night.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.